Once upon a time, a weird man lived in a house. Unlike all other people, every time he went to bed, he turned on the light. But one night, something unimaginable happened. The man forgot to turn the lights on. The next day, the man got up and while eating his breakfast, he read in a newspaper that the night before, 1,000 people had been taken to a hospital at once. The man was terrified. He rushed to the police and turned himself in. If you know who the man was and why he went to the police, comment below fast. Now let's compare our answers. The man was a lighthouse keeper. His job was to turn on the light at night to guide ships safely into the harbor. When he forgot to turn on the light, a few ships missed the harbor and crashed into the shore, which led to numerous injuries and a lot of damage. Now that you know more about lighthouse keepers, there is a much tougher task for you. So you find a seemingly deserted lighthouse and decide to explore it. Suddenly, as if out of nowhere, 3 figures appear in front of you. You realize with a jolt that 2 of them are ghosts and only one is the real lighthouse keeper. But which one? Look at this image very attentively and then write down your answer in the comments. Take your time, your life depends on it. The real lighthouse keeper is on the right. Admittedly, that crazy look on his face is kinda weird, but it must be loneliness that has had such dramatic consequences. The guy in the middle must be a ghost since he's transparent. As for the guy on the left carrying an oil lamp, he's a ghost too. No one uses those lamps anymore. They were replaced by electricity long ago. Look at these 3 men swimming in the turbulent ocean. A lighthouse keeper also noticed them and called out, telling them to stay away from the water due to extremely dangerous high tides. Suddenly, he spotted a weird thing. Only 2 men had wet hair. Help the lighthouse keeper figure out what was wrong with the 3rd swimmer, and tell him about your solution in the comments. There's actually nothing mysterious about the 3rd man. He's just bald and doesn't have any hair that could get wet. One lighthouse keeper had been lonely for so long that at one point he lost his marbles. One day, some tourists arrived at his lighthouse to marvel at the views. The lighthouse keeper locked them all inside and made them swallow pills. Some of those pills were harmless and some were poisoned. The tourists had nothing to do but take the pills. Shockingly, all of them ended up in a hospital, even though they took different pills. Now don't let the evil keeper avoid punishment. Let us know down below what trick he used to poison all the tourists. The poison was in the water the lighthouse keeper gave the tourists to help them swallow the pills. Sneak a peek inside this lighthouse, and a bizarre sight will greet you. In the middle of the night, a woman is sitting on her bed with no lights on. She doesn't even have an oil lamp or candle burning, and still she's reading. Is the woman a witch that can see in the dark? Or do you have another idea? Then share it in the comments. There's no magic involved here. The woman is reading Braille, and she's blind. On a remote island, there was an abandoned lighthouse. It was believed to be haunted. On a stormy night, a sailor named Jack was shipwrecked on the island. The man decided to seek refuge in the lighthouse. Inside, Jack found 3 lanterns, red, green, and blue. Beside them, he saw an inscription that read, "Choose your light wisely, for one leads to escape, one to eternal darkness, and one to the island's restless spirits." Which lantern should the guy pick if the only clue he got was to think about the traffic light signals? Join the rescue operation and write your choice down in the comments. Jack should choose the green lantern. Red signals indicate danger, symbolizing eternal darkness. Blue signals indicate caution and warning, possibly pointing to restless spirits. And green signals indicate safety and movement forward. That's the lantern that can help Jack escape from the haunted island. A powerful wizard who lived in a magic lighthouse had an assistant called Martin. Once, the wizard asked Martin to visit a potion maker and pick up 3 potions he had ordered. Martin received the parcel, but on his way back, he got into a real trap. In front of him, there was 3 doors, and he couldn't get past them. But behind the first door, there was a bottomless abyss. Behind the second door, there were venomous spiders. Even their webs were poisonous. And the third door was hiding a raging fire. Martin couldn't choose the door, so he decided to use one of the potions the potion maker had given him. But what should he opt for? The potion of invisibility, the potion of speed, or the potion of forgetfulness? Help Martin choose in the comments below. Martin's best option is to drink the potion of speed and dash through the fire so that it doesn't have time to really hurt him. An evil wizard holds you prisoner in an abandoned lighthouse, but offers you a chance to escape. There are 3 doors, A, B, and C. 2 of the doors lead to freedom, and the third door leads to lifetime imprisonment. You're allowed to point at a random door and ask the wizard a yes or no question. If you point at a door that leads to freedom, the wizard will answer your question truthfully. But if it's the door that leads to imprisonment, the wizard will answer your question randomly. If you know a way to save your life, make sure to write it down in the comments below. What if it helps someone escape one day? Point at door A and ask, does door B lead to freedom? If the wizard answers yes, then pick door B. If the wizard answers no, then pick door C. This strategy will work regardless of where door A leads. Let's say door A leads to freedom. Then the wizard will answer truthfully. That's why if the wizard answers yes, you should pick door B. And if he answers no, you should pick door C. But what if door A leads to imprisonment and the wizard answers randomly? Well, it's even easier. If door A leads to imprisonment, the other 2 doors, B and C, must lead to freedom, and you can pick any door. You don't actually need to worry where door A leads. Just pick door B when the wizard answers yes and door C when he answers no. Oliver was sailing his yacht when a terrible storm started. His ship sank in the middle of the ocean, but the man managed to reach. It can serve as a shelter. Meanwhile, Olivia can't drink ocean water because the amount of salt it contains is dangerous for people. Hello there, Brightsiders! These riddles are gonna be a bit different than usual. No witches, detectives, or whatever. Let's go! Take a look at this pic. On the left, you've got a set of words. They're not linked to each other in any way. On the right, you've got a set of weirdly shaped geometrical objects. Your task is to match each word to the corresponding objects. Alrighty, let's see the answers. Voila! Let me break it down for you. It's necessary to look for external similarities between words and pictures. This is called word recognition. We recognize words as a whole, not by individual letters. Easier to spot spelling errors. That's why we can read abbreviations. We recognize familiar words even if letters are missing. Next one. You gotta use your math skills here. So, in front of you lies a whole treasure. 10 bags, each of which contains 1,000 coins. 9 sacks contain real gold coins and 1 contains extremely fake ones. A real gold coin weighs 5 grams, while a fake one weighs 4 grams. How to determine in one weighing on the scales which of the bags contains fake coins? The scales are accurate, but there is only one approach to them. Here's the right approach. We take 1 coin from the first bag, 2 from the second, 3 from the third, and so on, up to 10 coins. Weigh these 55 coins. Gold coins could weigh 275 grams. If 1 gram is missing, then fake coins are in the first bag. If 2 grams are missing, then fake coins are in the second bag, and so on. It's curious that this task is easily scalable. The number of bags is not important. At least 3, at least 1,000, everything is solved by 1 weighing. This riddle got pretty viral on TikTok, but in case you missed it, you can try to solve it right now. He claims that according to the FBI, if you solve this riddle, you're smart enough to become a special agent. So, a man and a woman go out to dinner on their first date. The evening is very hot, and they bring water with ice. The woman is terribly thirsty, and she drinks 3 glasses in 1 gulp. A man drinks 1 glass in small sips throughout the evening. Later, he writes to her that he suddenly became ill, weakness, dizziness, breathing problems. At midnight, he passes away. The police call the woman in for questioning and announce that there was poison in her glass and in the man's glass. It was poison, so why did the man get poisoned and the woman not? I'm sure you already guessed the poison was in the ice. The woman drank so fast that the ice cubes had no time to melt, so the poison had no effect on her. The man drank slowly and the ice melted, so he swallowed poisonous water. I guess pretty much any brightsider can become a special agent. Now, look at this picture. Keep in mind that it's not that simple and only 1% of people can figure out what's wrong with this image. Hey, look closer. The woman in the red dress on the right doesn't have an umbrella, but she doesn't get wet. 2 coins are worth 30 cents. One of them is not 5 cents. What are these coins? This one was easy, 25 cents and 5 cents. 1 coin is not 5 cents, but the second is 5 cents. Look at this picture closely, because the riddle is all about your attention. Now tell me, what time is in the picture? To make it a little bit easier, I'm going to give you a couple of options. A, it's 5 a.m. B, it's 11 a.m. C, it's 7 a.m. Take a look at the long shadows and the snow lying on the cars and the burning lanterns. Well, I guess it's 7 o'clock in the morning in the picture. Look at the picture. Do you spot anything weird here? The shipping deck seems to be way too slim. Seems like it was built after the ship had arrived at the port. Allison is quite a picky eater. She likes grapes, but she can't stand peaches. She's into squash, but she never eats carrots. So now you have to figure out what Allison prefers, pumpkins or apples. This girl may be finicky, but she does have some logic. She only eats things that grow on vines, so she's gonna prefer pumpkins over apples. There's a clerk at the butcher shop. He's 6 feet tall and he wears size 13 sneakers. What does he weigh? Of course, it's meat. There's a word in the English language in which the first 2 letters signify a male, the first 3 letters signify a female, the first 4 letters signify a great man, and the whole word means a great woman. Can you guess this word? It's the word heroin. A hen and a half lays an egg and a half in a day and a half. How many eggs does one hen lay in one day? Yeah, it's pretty hard to think of a hen and a half. As for an egg and a half, I can only imagine it in a cooked form. 1.5 days is the easiest criterion here. So, with all the given information, it must be that one hen would lay one egg in the same time period. 1.5 days. But if one hen lays one egg in 1.5 days, it means that one hen would lay only 2/3 of an egg in one day. So the answer is 2/3 of an egg. A young man wants to have it, but when he grows up, he no longer wants it. He attacks it with a blade in his hands, but it's always in vain. What is it? It's a beard. Hey, I've got a riddle rhyme for you. I'm rather large and usually majestic. I'm every hue of the rainbow. I can eat you. I may heat you. You only wish you could see me. What am I? It's a dragon. The last but not the least. Get ready, this one's gonna be pretty long. Carl's two grandmothers want to see him every weekend, but they live on the opposite sides of town. Not to offend any of the grannies, he tells them that every Sunday he'll head to the subway station nearest to his apartment at a random time of the day and will hop on the next train that arrives. If it happens to be the train traveling north, he'll visit his grandma Erica uptown. And if it happens to be the train traveling south, he'll visit his grandma Liz downtown. Both of his grandmothers are okay with this plan, since they both know the northbound and southbound trains run every 20 minutes. But after a few months of doing this, Grandma Liz complains that she sees him only 1 out of 5 Sundays. Carl claims he chooses a random time each day. How can this be? Keep in mind that the trains always arrive at their scheduled times. Although both trains come exactly every 20 minutes, the timing matters a lot. Let's imagine the northbound train comes on the hour, on the 20, and on the 40. So at 8, 8:20, 8:40, 9, etc. Now let's suppose the southbound train comes on the 4, 24, and 44. So 8:04, 8:24, 8:44, 9:04, etc. This means in any hour, there will be only 12 minutes in which the southbound train will be the next train to arrive. So, if Carl arrives between 8 and 8:04, between 8:20 and 8:24, or between 8:40 and 8:44, he'll get on the southbound train. Otherwise, he'll get on the northbound train. But as Carl always comes at a random time, and the southbound train supposedly arrives after the northbound trains, Carl gets to see his grandma Liz pretty rarely.
Brendan and Rachel are two archaeologists working on a digging site in the desert. One day, they came across a cursed artifact. Once they touched it, they magically got teleported into a room with no doors and no windows. How can they escape? Now, there are 3 signs that suggest they can escape through that wall. The first one is, if you take a closer look at it, you'll notice that the bricks at the center are slightly dislocated. The second one is, there's a wind coming from the direction of the dislocated bricks. You can tell it by looking at Brendan and Rachel shifting clothes. And the third one is, there's also a faint light coming from between the dislocated bricks. So, that can only mean there is actually nothing holding them together. They can just push the bricks and create a hole in the wall. Unfortunately, Brendan and Rachel found themselves inside another room. Unlike the previous, this one was very large, and there were 10 identical-looking ancient statues in it. But take a look at the scene. Do you notice something strange? This statue's eyes are following Brendan and Rachel. It's alive. Once Brendan and Rachel realized the moving statue, it started speaking. "How dare you enter the chamber where I am resting with my brave warriors? I will turn a blind eye to your disrespect and will let you go only if you answer my question correctly. If you can't, I will turn both of you to stone. I am light as a feather, yet the strongest man can't hold me for much more than a minute. What am I?" The correct answer is breath. Anna wanted to buy a van to travel the country. She went to the van fair to pick one. There were 3 vans she could afford. Take a look at each of them. Which one should she buy? Did the wooden flooring of the first van catch your attention? It's all scratched and blistered, so this one is a pass. Now let's check the second one. It seems like something is missing. It has no stove. How is she going to be able to cook? It's better she does not waste her money on this one either, so she should buy the third one. David went to the grocery store to buy some fresh fruits and vegetables. At the checkout, he realized that he had forgotten his wallet back home. It was closing time at the store, so there was no time to go home, grab his wallet, and come back to pay. The store manager said, "I'll let you get all the food for free if you can answer my riddle correctly. What has a heart that doesn't beat?" The answer is an artichoke. Jamie was riding his bike when he came across a junction. The first road was leading to a forest where it was raining acid all the time. The second road was leading to a pitch-black tunnel where nobody could see where they were going. And the third road was leading to a highway where it was so hot that even the concrete road was melting. Which one should he choose? Jamie should pick the second road because his bicycle has a headlight attachment here, so he can actually see where he's going. Florence was a contestant at the Who Wants to Be a Billionaire game show. She only had one question left to win $1 billion, and it was this. What starts with an E, ends with an E, but only contains one letter? But she couldn't figure out the answer, so she used her phone-a-friend lifeline and called you. Can you help her out? The answer is an envelope. The Rodriguez family went on vacation to a remote cabin in the woods. They brought a large supply of food with them, including several cans of soup. However, when it was time to open a can and start preparing the dinner, they realized they didn't have a can opener. Yet still, Mr. Rodriguez was able to open it. How did he do it? He used this rock on the counter to smash the top of the can. Yes, the rock was a can opener. Mrs. Rosie was knitting a sweater in front of the fireplace on one snowy winter night. Suddenly, somebody threw a snowball at her window, which caused the glass to shatter to pieces. Mrs. Rosie immediately could tell this was one of those 3 mischievous kids who lived in the neighborhood. They were brothers with the names of Robert McDuffie, Henry McDuffie, and Mark McDuffie. The next day, a paper note was left on Mrs. Rosie's doorstep. It had this cryptic message written on it. ? McDuffie. He threw the snowball. After reading it, Mrs. Rosie could immediately tell which McDuffie brother threw the snowball. Can you? The brother responsible for the broken window was Mark McDuffie. The symbol, ? is called a, question mark. Now the meaning of the message is clear as day, right? ? McDuffie. He threw the snowball. Now the question is, who threw Mark McDuffie under the bus? Ratted him out? Sandra was going to a monster-themed costume party. When she arrived at the venue, she greeted 3 people, but 2 of them were actually real monsters, and only one of them was a human. Can you tell who? The first guy is a real human because he is wearing a mask. You can see the ribbon of it tied behind his head. Sophia was an extra who acted in the season's most anticipated movie. She was invited to the premiere among the other cast members and crew. She wanted to look her best for the event and decided to hire a professional makeup artist to do her makeup. She found 3 makeup artists on social media to choose from. Take a look at their profiles. Which one should Sophia choose? Well, the makeup the first makeup artist is wearing is not so flattering. How is she going to do Sophia's makeup if her own looks that unprofessional? And did you see that the social media bio of the second makeup artist says only bridal makeup? So, the best option is the third makeup artist. Princess Madeline was going to have a crowning ceremony, and all kinds of important people were invited. However, on the day of the ceremony, her newly crafted royal crown got stolen from the vault. The head royal guard examined the security footage and boiled down the suspects to 3. When he questioned them, the first suspect said she had just arrived at the palace at the time the crown was stolen, so she didn't do it. The second suspect said she had spilled a drink on her dress and went back home to change it, so she didn't do it. And the third suspect said even if she was a thief, she would not be interested in stealing a crown made of emeralds. Who do you think did it? Now remember, the crown is newly crafted, so nobody has seen it yet, and there is no way anyone could know what gemstones it is made of. So it's the third lady who stole it. Simon was going to propose to his longtime girlfriend. He wanted the ring to be special, so he engraved his and his girlfriend's initials along with a heart shape inside the ring. However, when his girlfriend saw it, she immediately broke up with him. Can you tell why? Do you see the necklace Simon's girlfriend is wearing? It says Beatrice on the pendant, so that must be her name. But the engraving inside the ring says S loves D. This probably means Simon is cheating on her with another girl whose name starts with D, and he mixed the names up. Simon says, find somebody else. Anthony was going to start working at his dream company. To celebrate the good news, his dad wanted to get him a new luxury watch as a good luck gift. He went to the store to pick one. The salesman showed him 3 different watches. Which one should he buy? Do you see the tiny scratches the second watch has? That must be a returned product, so it's a pass. And the third watch here shows the time wrong. The store clock on the wall says it's 5 p.m., but the watch says it's 4:40 p.m., so it is running behind. Better not risk spending all that money on a malfunctioning watch. So he should buy the first one. Nancy was hiking in the woods. She lost track of time and couldn't find her way back to her car in the darkness. In the distance, she saw a small cottage with lights coming from the windows. She headed there to ask for help. When she knocked on the door, a wizard greeted her and said he would help her only if she could guess what animal his familiar was. Can you help Nancy figure it out? Take a look at the magic staff the wizard is holding. The head of it is raven-shaped, so his familiar must be a raven. Amir's favorite band was in town to give a concert. After it ended, Amir rushed backstage to catch the band members before they left and asked for an autograph. But the security guard stopped him. After Amir begged him and told him this was his biggest dream, the security guard said, "I will let you meet the members if only you answer my riddle correctly. What comes once in a minute, twice in a moment, but never in 1,000 years?" Come on, the security guy. Anyway, do you know the answer? The correct answer is the letter M. Penny's new favorite hobby was bird watching. She was trying to observe all the birds in her region and take notes about them. One day, she saw a rare species of bird and wanted to learn everything she could about it. Can you help her figure out which of these trees in the forest is this bird's home? Did you see the leaf that was stuck among the wing feathers of the bird? Only this tree has the same kind of leaves, so it must be where the bird's nest is located. Sally had a history exam the next day, but she had not been attending any of the classes, so she didn't have any notes to help her study. Nellie, on the other hand, was a very hard-working student who had never missed a single class. When Sally asked Nellie if she could borrow her class notes, Nellie said, "I will only allow that if you answer my riddle correctly. What has 4 letters, sometimes 9 letters, but never has 5 letters? Can you answer it?" Well, the answers are hidden in the question this time. This riddle isn't describing something, it's actually telling you how many letters each word has. The word what contains 4 letters, the word sometimes contains 9 letters, and the word never contains 5 letters. Since Sally was a lazy student who didn't study, she couldn't answer the riddle and flunked the exam. She was grounded to her home after school for a month. And Nellie ended up with Sally's boyfriend Pete, who everyone said could have done better than old Sally. And now you know the rest of the story.
Are you ready to challenge your visual memory? These puzzles will definitely make your brain sweat. Take a look at this picture and try to memorize each object. Okay, the time is up. Can you sort the extra object out? These scissors don't belong here. Let's make the task a little harder. Take your time to memorize these staplers. And now let's see if you can spot which object didn't appear in the initial picture. Option C is new. The next one. Try to memorize these donuts. Great. I'm sure you remember them all by heart, and you'll have no problem sorting the odd one out. Option A doesn't belong here. Here comes the next set. Try to memorize all the details. Okay, which ice cream didn't appear in the initial picture? B. You'll need to stretch your photographic memory to the limits if you want to solve the next task. Here are 6 different burgers. Pay attention to all the details. You're going to need them later. And now let's take a look at these 9 pictures. Can you spot which of these burgers didn't appear in the initial picture? Ready to see the answer? B, D, and E. The next one. Try to memorize all 6 rings. Good. Can you sort the 3 extra rings out? Options A, C, and F don't belong here. Take a look at this picture and try to memorize each parrot. The time is up. Can you spot the parrots that were not present in the original picture? B, E, and F. And now let's go ahead and study the following images. Great job. I'm sure you remember every flower. Let's see if you can find them among these 20 flowers. 1, 7, 9, 15, 16, and 19. The next task is the same. Do your best to memorize all 6 mugs. Okay, can you spot them among this variety? Ready to see the correct answer? Here they are. How about a task change? Study these 6 objects very carefully. Ready? And now let's hide them and try to remember where this object was. Over here. Was it too easy? Let's complicate the puzzle a little. You have a few seconds to memorize these 10 objects. Great. Can you recall where this image was? It was here. And what if we increase the number of objects to 12? Ready to try? Can you spot this object's location? There it is. Here's the next group of objects. Try to memorize them all. And now let's hide them and swap their places. Can you restore the original sequence in which the objects were placed? Ready to see the answer? There you go. Ready to try again? Here's a group of objects. You know what to do. Let's see if you can restore the original sequence this time. Here's the correct order. Can you handle 8 objects? Let's check. Here's the initial sequence. Take your time to memorize it. All right. Let's rearrange the images. Can you bring them back to order? This is what the original sequence looked like. Anna arrives at an empty parking lot. Can you guess the number of the place where her car is parked? To make the task easier, we should turn the picture upside down. And now it's obvious that the correct answer is 87. Miranda is a very rich woman. She lives in a fancy circular mansion with diamond chandeliers in every room. She also has a diamond table, a movie theater room, a spa room, and a huge garage with 5 antique cars. But today Miranda is very upset. She has just found out that one of her cars is missing. She asks the butler, but he says he was making her bed. Miranda questions the maid and she says, "I was dusting corners." And the chef says, "I didn't touch your car. I was making breakfast." Who's lying? The maid. Miranda lives in a circular house, remember? So the maid couldn't be dusting corners. I can be cracked. I can be made. I can be told. I can be played. What am I? I'm a joke. Toby and Bobby decide to prank their English teacher. They succeed, but the teacher wants revenge. He detains them and takes the students to the basement. Teacher, you'll stay here until you solve my riddle. Make one word from the following letters. Toby and Bobby spend 7 hours there, and finally, they solve the riddle, and the teacher lets them go. How did they do that? The answer is literally one word. Rose is riding a bike. Suddenly, someone throws a cup of strawberry milkshake in her face. She loses her balance and falls. Rose looks around, finds 3 suspects, and interrogates them. But each person swears to have nothing to do with the prank. Bianca says, "I was just doing my daily workout. I'm on a sugar-free diet, so I would never have bought this disgusting milkshake." Nick says, "I was reading a book and enjoying my own milkshake, but I like chocolate, not strawberry." And Lauren says, "I was just walking my dog and I didn't look at the road." Who's lying? Lauren, take a look at her bright purple lipstick. There's a similar mark on the cup that was thrown at Rose. Zelda finds a recipe in her granny's old cookbook, but unfortunately the last ingredient is encoded. Here's a hint to crack it. Although I may have eyes, I cannot see. I have a round face with lots of acne. What am I? Any idea what it might be? It's a potato. 4 criminals are planning to rob a bank. They agree to only take the gold bars. They return home and decide to divide the bar among themselves. Can you find a way to separate this shape into 4 equal parts? Here's the easiest way. Liam gets a spooky invitation to a Halloween party. He comes along and sees something creepy right away. All the guests are vampires except one. Can you spot a human? Take a closer look at the lady in a witchy costume. She's the only one who has round pupils like a normal human being. Someone stole the most expensive painting from the local art gallery. The police arrive at the crime scene and pull some fingerprints. They identify 3 different people. 2 of them are trusted employees of the gallery, but the 3rd fingerprint belongs to an unknown person who might be the robber. The detective suspects 4 criminals specializing in art thefts. He finds their fingerprints in his database and compares them with the ones from the crime scene. The detective identifies the robber right away. What about you? Can you guess who stole the painting? These fingerprints belong to the gallery employees. So here's the robber. Cherry and Sam spend their honeymoon at a fancy resort. Can you spot any mistakes in this place? The pool is frozen. Bob is having dinner and watching TV after work as usual. But can you spot anything odd in this picture? The mirror reflects a different TV program. There are 3 different yachts to choose from. Which one should Jake pick? The second yacht has no lifeboats or jackets. It's dangerous to sail like that. As for the 3rd boat, there's a tied-up man on board. And this sailor is a ghost, so only the 1st yacht seems safe and reliable. Kendra, Stacy, and Monica are besties, but in fact one of them is a bad friend. Can you guess who? Monica. She left an ice cream stain on her friend's coat on purpose. Ryan wants to surprise his wife. He calls the local flower shop and orders a huge bouquet of daisies. An hour later, someone knocks on Ryan's door. He looks through the peephole first and says, "Oh wow, a fake delivery guy has arrived." How did he know? The delivery guy didn't know that Ryan had ordered daisies, and he brought roses instead. The next puzzle will test your visual memory. We're going to show you a couple of images. Try to memorize them as best you can. Alright, time is up. And now let's see if you can find the mug that you saw at the beginning. B. What about the ice cream? A. And finally, can you spot the original cat? Option D is correct. Here's the next set of images. You know what to do. Are you ready to spot the butterfly? Option C is correct. What about the gnome? D. Can you find the initial candle? B. And what about the comb? It's over here. And now try to memorize these images. Let's check if you can find the glove that you saw at the beginning. Option D is correct. What about the phone? It's over here. Can you find the original pencil? A. And what about the broccoli? It's over here. Can you spot the shoe? B. Nina's brother decides to prank her and changes a 6-letter password on her laptop. He leaves a little clue in Nina's room so that she could crack the code. Can you help her? To solve this riddle, we should take a look at the calendar on the wall. The marked dates imply a number sequence, 6, 12, 15, 24, 5, and 18. But the password should contain 6 letters, not numbers. We need to find the corresponding letter in the alphabet. 6 for F, 12 for L, 15 for O, and so on. And the final password is flower. Alex is going to the Moroccan desert. Alex decides to go explore the local market. He wanders around and a stranger approaches him. Stranger. Hey, mister. Would you like to buy these ancient statues? I found them in a tomb. They're thousands of years old. Alex gets very interested. He loves history. He takes a closer look at the statues and gets mad. Alex. Your statues are fake. How did he know? The first statue is holding a phone. The second has the hieroglyph of a bicycle. The third statue also can't be that old. Back then, no one knew what the Earth looked like. And the fourth statue is wearing sneakers. Busted. Robert is a professional thief. He knows that Mrs. Gold is hiding a diamond necklace in her safe. But now he fails to crack the required 8-number code. What about you? Let's take a closer look at the paintings. See these dominoes? It's a clue. They form the code 3, 2, 1, 5, 6, 1, 2, 4. Stephen is building a new house for his family. He's visiting the construction site to check how the builders are doing. Stephen finds out that someone has broken an expensive antique mirror. Only 3 people had access to the house. Stephen questions all of them. The supervisor says, I was feeling sick yesterday, so I went home earlier to get some rest. The interior designer says, yesterday the mirror was fine. I arrived here in the evening to take some pictures for my design project. See for yourself if you don't believe me. And the mover says, I wasn't here yesterday. I spent the entire day at the construction supermarket. So I don't know who did it. Who's lying? The designer. There's a selfie among the pictures that she took yesterday. Take a look at her glasses. They reflect the opposite wall in the broken mirror. Busted. Get ready for a tough but very fun riddles competition. Yeah! Take whatever helps you activate your logical skills. A magnifying glass, a deerstalker hat, or a notebook. And let's get rolling. Let's warm up with some easy stuff. Can you find a vampire among these emojis? Here it is. Ugh, creepy. How about this crowd of people? Can you spot a vampire hiding among them? It is this girl. Look at how sharp her teeth are. And one more riddle for you. Which of these people is a vampire? See those fang marks on the neck of that guy? He was bitten and has already turned into a vampire himself. Stephen was found unconscious in his living room on a Sunday evening. Someone had hit him on the head. The man was rushed to a hospital while the police started questioning the suspects. There were 3 of them: Stephen's ex-wife, his neighbor, and his younger brother. Stephen's ex-wife said she'd been walking in the park with her little niece all day. Stephen's neighbor said she'd wanted to go on a date with her boyfriend, but since it had been raining heavily, they decided to stay at home. And Stephen's younger brother said he'd been at work, finishing a large project. It was so important he had to work even on weekends. The police figured out who the attacker was quite fast. Can you do the same? It was Stephen's ex-wife. It had been raining heavily all day long. Who would walk in the park with a little kid in such weather? A criminal has kidnapped your friend and tied him to a tree. A huge, vicious dog is guarding this tree. You need to save your friend at night. But when you come to that place, you only have one piece of meat with you. It's not big enough to distract the dog for the 3 minutes you need to cut the ropes and help your friend escape. How can you solve this problem? Cut the meat into small pieces and throw them all over the garden. And while the dog is distracted, set your friend free. One day, Amy went on a date with her boyfriend Joe to a nice restaurant. Joe gave her flowers and candy. They had a great meal and enjoyed the date. But in the morning, Amy woke up with a severe allergic reaction. She went to the hospital, where she was told that she had been poisoned. But to figure out what antidote Amy needed, it was crucial to understand the source of the poison. The detective invited to investigate the case questioned everyone who could poison the girl, her boyfriend, the cook, and Amy's friend Cindy. Joe said that they'd eaten the same food in the restaurant. The cook said that he had brought Amy her pizza, and it had been freshly made. And Cindy said she thought Amy's boyfriend had poisoned her. She added that he had asked her what flowers Amy liked to gain Amy's trust. Have you realized who poisoned the girl? It was Cindy. Have you noticed the book on her table? It was about poisonous flowers. She advised Joe to give Amy flowers that would cause health problems. One company organized a betting game where one red and one blue marble were placed in a dark box. If a player picked the blue marble, the company had to pay them $5,000. But if the player guessed it wrong, they had to pay the company $100. The company cheated by always putting in the box 2 red marbles instead of 1 red and 1 blue, but no one could prove it. Mark was observing people lose one after another. Then he took part in the game and won. How did he do it? The man picked a marble and quickly put it in his mouth without showing the thing to anyone else. The remaining marble was red. According to the rules, it meant that Mark's marble was blue. The company had to pay him the money. Now, you need to pay attention to every little detail. Can you figure out whose dog it is? Look at that guy wearing a red jacket. See that leash he's holding? It matches the dog's collar, so most likely he's the owner. This parrot has managed to sneak away from its owner, and now the vet is looking for them. Can you say whose bird this is? The owner is that woman sitting on the couch. There's a cage behind her. Another waiting room at the vet. And whose Sphinx cat is this cutie? See that guy waiting for the doctor to bring back his pet? He's surrounded by lots of furry animals and can't stop sneezing. He must be allergic to fur. That's why he got himself a Sphinx kitty. And whose horse is this? See that girl standing in line? She's the only one wearing riding boots. She must be the owner. These kids seem to be terrified. No wonder. See that white rat darting around the classroom? Who does it belong to? It's that girl who's checking her backpack. You can see a cage and some rodent food inside. Oh, look at this cutie. What do you think? Who does this mini pig belong to? This guy is the owner. His outfit matches the scarf the pig is wearing. How sweet is that? And whose hedgehog is this? This lady is the owner. She's wearing special gloves to handle the animal.
Yes!
And who does this absolutely adorable pug belong to? Its owner is this guy. If you look attentively, you'll notice a pug tattoo on his leg. Lily came home and saw her favorite vase shattered. Extremely upset, she exclaimed, "What's happened to my vase?" Her husband Sam explained that around lunchtime, he heard a loud crash from their bedroom. He rushed there and saw that Lily's expensive vase had been broken, and a robber was running away. Sam followed the man outside, but his glasses got foggy because of the cold weather. That's why he missed the man. Lily called the police, but after police officers heard the whole story, they refused to investigate this case. Why? Glasses fog up when you enter a warm place, not vice versa. Sam invented the story because he was afraid to admit he had been the one to break the vase.
Oh.
Emma's husband Liam knew his wife had been dreaming of going to an archaeological site. One day, she told him about the perfect opportunity. There was a remote site ready to be excavated, but there was no internet or network connection there. She would have to camp in a tent with almost no modern conveniences. But since she was really excited about this trip, Liam was ready to wait for her at home. 2 days later, Liam received a message and a photo from Emma. The man got furious. He realized Emma had been lying about the whole thing. How did he understand it? Before leaving, Emma told her husband there was no internet connection or cell phone reception there. Then how did she manage to send him the photo? Several bank workers visited a canteen in their office building. Since it was the Riddle Day, Matthew, Isaac, and Wyatt were served tea, and Hunter, Christian, and Nathan drank coffee. What drink did Aaron get? Aaron drank tea simply because of his double-letter name. A man with a bandage around his head came to a police station. I was hitchhiking when a car stopped. The driver asked me to check if one of the tires was flat. I bent over to look, and he hit me on the head. When I regained consciousness, I found out he had taken all my money and smartphone. I only remember that the guy had a big car, large eyebrows, and a mustache. Soon the police had a suspect. They found him in a cafe, but this man said it couldn't be him. He changed the tires on his car 2 weeks ago. And since then, the car had been parked near the cafe, but the detective realized the man was lying right away. How? There's a no parking sign near the cafe. No car could be staying there for 2 weeks. Isabella is standing behind Mia, but at the same time, Mia is also standing behind Isabella. How is it possible? The girls are standing with their backs turned toward each other. Mrs. Red was a big boss in a large company. Recently, she hired a few new employees. One day, her assistant was filling out their documents and found something strange.
What?
She informed Mrs. Red that one of the new employees seemed to have fake documents. But the boss was in a hurry and told the assistant that she'd have a look at the papers the next day.
Yeah.
But the next day, Mrs. Red found out that her assistant was in a hospital, unconscious.
Oh my god.
Someone had attacked her on her way to work. Mrs. Red hurried to check the new employee's documents. Look at them and try to figure out which ID is fake. This ID card claims that Edward is 34 years old, but the man using this document is way older.
Oh.
It was an extremely hot day. Police Officer Black was driving along a countryside road. Suddenly, he noticed a hitchhiker on the side of the road and stopped to give him a ride. The man explained that he had been waiting for someone to pick him up for more than 2 hours and offered the officer some ice cream. Black refused and asked the guy about a gang of criminals who had just robbed a jewelry store. The hitchhiker exclaimed, "I've just seen a red car speeding past me. Must have been the robbers, but they were driving in the opposite direction. We'll need to turn back." Black didn't believe him and took him to the police station. How did the police officer guess the hitchhiker was a criminal? If the hitchhiker had indeed been standing on the side of the road for 2 hours, the ice cream would have already melted. So, he lied to lead Black the wrong way. Oliver has in mind one of 3 numbers: 1, 2, or 3. Charlotte is allowed to ask him just one question to figure out which number it is. Oliver can answer her question only with no, yes, and I can't say. Which question should Charlotte ask? She can say, "I have the number 1 or 2 in mind. Is your number larger than my number?" If Oliver answers yes, it means he's chosen 3. If he answers, "I can't say," the number he has in mind is 2. And if he says no, his number is 1. Several people were asked to step over a pencil lying on the floor, but none of them managed to do it. Why? The pencil was placed near the wall. Who doesn't like rebus puzzles? They're fun, and I've got a few tricky ones for you. Enjoy! What does it mean? It's misunderstood. Try to crack this one. So we see pot and 8 O's. Together, they make potatoes. And how about this one? That's high five. A small hint. The arrangement of these letters is important. This rebus means, hurry up! And one more puzzle for you. What could it mean? It's a friend in need. A hungry vampire is following you on a deserted street one dark night. Suddenly, you see a house with its door open and hide there. The vampire can't enter your shelter, but is patiently waiting outside. However, you still have some hope. There are 3 tunnels leading out of the house. But inside the first tunnel, there is molten lava. The walls of the second tunnel keep closing every 10 seconds, crushing everything that gets inside. And the floorboards of the third tunnel collapse every 5 seconds, sending everything lying on them into an abyss. What should you do? Just wait till the morning. Vampires can't stand daylight, and your pursuer will have to leave you alone.
Yes!